What the hell happened in between episodes? I'll take one for the team. It's time to jump into another episode of Wistoria. Make sure you leave a like on this video, share your support, subscribing the bell, and Patreon. You can catch my full live reactions over there. Let's watch Will potentially get consensually diddled. My flabbers are gasted right now. So it's almost like he acts like a battery then, right? He stores up magical shit and he just needs to learn how to release it on a whim. Now, is this a proper memory? Oh, the opening. We're finally seeing what happened in the opening. He shouldn't be the only one to suffer. Strip me down and make me suffer too, just so when he wakes up I can say we are truly bros. Like, it looks like we're looking at his dead body. That's not even his face. That's a completely different character. Is that an anal bead? Like, what is this? So we're eating Elfie's bodily fluids. Okay. This girl's a freak from a young age. Oh! He's like, hold up, I don't recall this ever happening. Is this why Elfie always believed in Will this whole time? Because she saw what he did back in the day? That could explain a lot, actually. Because despite what he thought was the first time he's ever used Mage Blade, it was actually when he was a kid. Julius is like, I wouldn't normally say this, but put a shirt on, my boyfriend. It's off to take the test. So we now understand why Elfie had such belief in her boyfriend Will. So with how everything has been presented up to this point, there definitely was an argument to be made why she wanted Will in the tower so bad. Because despite her just genuine love and infatuation for him, he probably didn't belong in the tower up until recently, right? I mean, at the end of the day, despite his skills with a sword, it really wasn't until the old magic blade thing happened that it was like, okay, I can see how he could survive a tower. So what exactly was her reason for thinking this scared little kid who got bullied and pushed around, who couldn't survive probably naturally by himself, why did she want him into this tower so much? It turns out, the feats that we recently saw Will do, he's been doing since childhood. Now, seemingly only one time, and then for some reason it mentally blocked out for him. But the concept of Will essentially being a battery, that he can charge up magical energy and then release it in crucial moments, so seemingly back in the day when he got basically killed, and then when everything hit the fan and, you know, he was getting absolutely annihilated. It seems like that pressure is probably what eventually lets the cork out and it releases into the magic blade. But still, Bro ends up getting shot, so we understand where he gets his scar on his back by taking a giant ice crystal so Elfie doesn't die, and then Bro unleashes the magic blade. It's kind of interesting when you think about it, right? So at the beginning of this episode, after some consensual diddling, we understand Will, it's like, yeah, he's already kind of acting like a battery in a way, right? Like, he has all this energy, it festers and festers and festers and just doesn't release. Probably makes him agitated as shit. You gotta imagine that's uncomfortable. But when you get skewered in the back, it almost like the cork got released and all the magical energy comes out. It's fascinating, right? Because he's this legendary magical person, but with no idea how to utilize this ability. Because it's not like his type of magic is commonplace. So in doing so, he was left untaught, pushed away and ostracized from society to the point that he felt like he was a failure. And for some people, I can understand why they would try to keep him away from the tower, because most people wouldn't realize he could do something like this. But the fact that this was something that at a young age he was able to do. No wonder Elfie was like, we need to get him into the tower. Because he just needed proper nurturing and guidance. This is wild. This actually changes everything we thought we knew. It's very clever that we finally have this proper flashback, because the opening with Elfie kind of dragging him through the woods, right? Now we have a full vision of this. And it's so fascinating watching this happen, because seemingly this probably has awoken the feeling. Because it's almost like we went down this trip of memory lane, not just to say like, hey, you've done this ability before. It's probably about that feeling, because he pretty much has this out-of-body experience where his soul leaves his body for a brief while. Apparently he's asleep for 6 days as he goes through this trip, right? And to me, the implications of everything happening is that because you've relived it now, when it was the first time it happened, you now know the sensation of how to release that power without needing to get stabbed in the back or your head cracked on the concrete. and I'm excited to see what he can do with this information. Now, for a brief moment, I did think I downloaded the wrong episode of Wistoria this week, and then quickly I realized that either way, this was now the right episode of Wistoria this week. It is funny how they baited around and how the only one in the entire room was Julius being like, listen, if anyone's gonna fondle my boy Scars, it's gonna be me. Wait a second, no one's fondling without consent. So funny. And it's really funny too, because when you think about it, right, they had fun with the whole bait and switch of what was going on with her actually examining Scars rather than trying to feel up some high school boy. And then later in the episode, during the fucking flashback, Elfie's out here asking if Will's cheating on her, if Elfie can fill Will with all of her. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is a raunchy ass episode, but it is cute despite the slightly provocative nature that the show loves to give off. Just to see how much, like, because obviously he has to play this memory exactly as it is. Even if he wanted to change certain things, how the memory went originally is how it will go. So normally he was this scared little boy that she would always protect. So no matter how bad things got, she was like, don't worry, Will, we'll survive, we got this. The fact that even during that scared little boy montage, he was able to push her out of the way and save her and act as that human shield. He didn't have a lot of options, and it was the one option he could do. And then seeing, like, the little cutesy bonding moments, the fact that he had no idea that Elfie snuck a kiss when he was sleeping on her lap. There's all these little things that build their relationship, and I don't think you necessarily needed this to be like, okay, I don't understand why Elfie and Will have such a connection. If two childhood friends are like, we deeply care for each other, if not love each other, and we've been separated for years, completely understandable why they're so desperate to meet back up. But adding in this backstory does a lot to understand their character motivations. I also thought the overall production of this flashback was gorgeous. It kind of gave me this, it was like a mix of like Kyoso Giga meets Flip Flappers. That's how most of the visuals were looking for me, and it was absolutely beautiful. It felt very storybooky, just colorful, these kind of like lighter watercolors, just beautiful. Until the Limbo visuals came in, and it was just like fucking Red Riding Hood gone bad. I mean, in general, the production this season has been great, but I think they've really had a lot of fun with different visual shifts and just tonal whiplashes. Because you got to consider too, like, this happens pretty much right after a beautiful scene, and then we're in demonic woods that want us dead. They had a lot of fun with the visual production this week, and it really made for a very unsettling, unnerving atmosphere that you didn't know where it was going. Like, I assumed our girl was going to be able to survive because she's alive in present day, and from my interpretation up to that point, this was an exact playback of what happened. I will say it probably took me a little too long to realize that we were building into why he had his scar, but you know what, we got there in the end, and that's all that matters. Either way, this season has been great. I'd say it's safe to say Season 2 has surpassed Season 1 without much struggle. It probably did that many weeks ago, but I feel confident in saying that now just because of everything that's happened. I think the production has matched and surpassed Season 1's quality at multiple points, and overall, I'm excited to see where a Season 3 would go, because it feels like the only thing that was maybe a potential issue is that if we use Julius's ability to keep magic active, then we're going to randomly get tested in the hallway when we don't have someone's mana flowing through us, right? So the concept of basically him being a battery that just needs to learn how to unleash that stored kind of conduit energy makes a lot more sense to me. You can let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of this episode? And how filled do you think Will is after all that Elfie filling he received? Thoughts down below. Leave a like, share, support, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course Patreon for live reactions over there and other exclusives, because you know I gotta give those video shout outs too, because my patrons make it all possible over here on YouTube. Alright, so today we got Zero, Wyack Wilkins, Sarah Bree, Soggy Toast, Just Why, I Am Here, Alexis A, and we also have Alex Jackson. So I appreciate the support. Please take care. You know, have a good one.